Peace, 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 peace. Peace and blessings. How are you? Good morning. We active and we are happy to be here. How y'all doing this morning? Peace, peace. I want y'all to, tag a friend. Tell somebody to join in with us. Let them know what we're doing this morning. Got New Jersey hemp farmer. Great guest. We're going to really learn some things today about the cannabis business on all different sides. Peace and blessings. Oh, damn. My thing ain't even on. Peace, peace, peace. Can y'all hear me now? Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Can y'all hear me? Let me know. I was tagging people, but I wasn't using the correct thingy bot. And I didn't do the other thingy bot, but I can show it to y'all. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. I don't see a connection. Can y'all hear me? You can hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Are we live? Can anybody hear me? I feel like I'm not being heard. Okay. That's still no. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Can you hear me, Ganja Mama? I'm not sure if I'm being heard right now. I need to know. Is the connection okay? Peace, brother. Can you hear me? I don't know if I'm being... Okay, you can hear me. Good. So it must be a delay. Cool. All right, all right. I got you, brother. Let me get started with the day's work. Yeah. All right, that's that. All right, all right. As you all know, we want to know what you smoking on this morning. What y'all smoking on? Indica, sativa. What's the brand? What's the strain? What's the grain? What's the grain? I had some Helen's back this morning. One of my favorite strains comes straight out of Super Fresh, right here, Super Fresh 2.0 in DC. And I also holler at the Weed District for what we get. They know what it is. Yeah, so what y'all smoking on? Put it in the comments. How it's feeling. What you got planned on this smoky day. Also, man, let's count our blessings. I just got some sad news this morning about a very, very on Camille, and that's what's up. I got some sad news this morning about my god brother's mom, which is like a mother, a grandmom to me, passing away. So count your blessings, you know. Your mother's alive, your father's alive, call them up, kiss them. Your brother's alive, your sister's alive, call them up. Say you miss them. Count your blessings. You can wiggle your fingers and toes. You're doing pretty good, I suppose. All right, now, we are going to start our day on day 29 as we do from the book. If you have not yet ordered it, you can still order it right there, 420godsbible.com. And, order some merch too. We got a lot of things there. However, I'm eating some Bubba Kush infused with biscuits and gravy. Sounds scrumptious. All right. Let's get started there. All right, today we on day 29. And on day 29, on the 420 God's Bible, it says, I am the fun nest. The funnest. Oh, shoot. The funnest, funniest, best. Ask them. The most best fun nest. Millennia have passed as I bring forth Armageddonous revelations. 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do not put a period on my exclamation point. Read deeper. Take these words as divine. So let's break it on down. Okay, so most people who know me know that I am a riot. I know I come off as serious and maybe even pious. I really am funty. I choose to be serious on the topics, on these topics, because we're talking about God. So I'm normally serious, but I'm really funny. I used to do stand-up comedy. Red Grant, Donnell Rollins, Joe Claire, Dominique, they were like a class above me when I was doing stand-up comedy. They were like the class above me. And then I went to school with Jay Phillips. He was in the movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell. He's a professional comedian. Also went to school with Sean Salvas. Both of those understudies, they went on to be professional comedians. And I went on to do a TV show. I did stand-up comedy, then I stopped, and me and my buddy Farmer Hodge, the God, Christelle knows Farmer Hodge, we went on to do a TV show, which was the funniest, avant-garde TV show at the time. It's called Holding Court. It was highly copied and plagiarized. Myself and Farmer Hodge, the God. And I'm gonna send y'all the link. Holding Court. It's Holding Court TV on YouTube. So you can go back and look at how funny I used to be. and I still am. But you can go back, check out my work. This ain't my first rodeo. We did about 30-something shows. About 6 or 7 of them up on YouTube right now. But I moved past that. Millennia have passed. Flash forward to 6801, June 8th, 2001. I hope this wind don't blow down my sign. It's getting windy. We stopped doing Holding Court because my first son, Asad Jaja Isa, the Messiah, was here. Flash forward, August 5th, 2004. God revealed himself to me. Millennia have passed since that day. A day to God is 1,000 years. Now y'all can go back and check episode 2, and I described the epiphany that I'm talking about that happened on August 5th, 2004. I don't want to get into that, but these are biblical times that we live in. Armageddon, in fact. The Suez Canal was blocked from a windstorm, a sandstorm, because of, it's stifling world shipping right now, because last year God told y'all to slow down, but y'all couldn't, so you're trying to speed things back up. But all the world shipping is being stopped right now because of sandstorm, because I think humans are still trying to move in their own time and not listen to what the Almighty, the Most High, is saying. So boom. Now I'm not here to convince anybody that God is real. I pity the fool. But this is the time of Revelations. Now, I'm going to read to you all Revelations 21, 3, 4, 5. That was revealed to me many, many years ago. Peace, Isis. I thought I had it pulled up. Bear with me. My bad. I should have had a slide, but hey. Okay. And I'm gonna show it to you too if I can. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll just read it. It says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away.' He who was seated on the throne said, 'I am making anything new.' Then he said, 'Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true.' It was revealed to me millennia ago." Now I like to pose a question. Can and will God the Father join God the Son and metaphorically wipe away every tear? Is that what that verse means? That's a question I want to pose to you all. Is God the Father coming? Or God the Son? Or both of them to dwell amongst the people? Don't put a period on my explanation point. Read deeper, take these words as divine. He who was seated on the throne, I am making everything new. Then he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." Peace, God. Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. Don't put a period on my explanation point. Take these words as divine. And that's peace. And with that, we're going to bring in the God. Peace, peace. Peace, God.
Peace, peace, God, peace.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, I feel good about that word I just gave. That one got me feeling a little hyper right there, actually.
Which one, the Armageddonist? No.
Yeah, that one. Exactly. Armageddon's Revelations.
I like that. I like that.
That's what's up, man. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself. My thing's at. Introduce yourself and tell everybody your name and where you from.
All right, brother. Yeah, I'm Dan. Watkins. I go by nowadays the NJ Hemp Farmer. Is trying to get some things started up in Jersey. We're up in Jersey, North Jersey. I'm from New York City originally. You know, family immigrants to the Bronx years ago. Puerto Rico, Barbados. So it's all the same kind of melting pot as everyone else in New York, and a lot of people here. You know, a lot of things going on in the city. I think New York's probably the largest producing country, if it, as a city in the world, with everything that's going on. But I grew up maybe with a little rough area. About 46. Not that it mattered, but I tell everybody I kind of grew up in the crack era. And when I was a kid, when I was learning how to play ball and make it through in the world, and you know, hip hop was coming out in a different way. You know, we had Public Enemy back then. We were making political statements. When I was 12 years old, I used to wear African medallions. And every Sunday I would go with my dad to my grandfather's house. His name is Daniel, actually. He was a Korean War vet. They raised us kind of military. But every Sunday we would go see a show called Like It Is. A lot of people don't remember that show. Came on. I think that came out of D.C. actually. What you call it? You know, talking more about, you know, our people and what's going on in the world. And there's been this awareness that's been going on in the community, political awareness in different phases. But you know, particularly in the late '80s, early '90s, we started getting centered back towards that Marcus Garvey kind of idea, Malcolm X kind of idea of Pan-Africanism. And I played around with that a little bit as a young person. Didn't really do a lot for me towards my career, but what I mean by that is I always knew I had to kind of have a focus on biology, on how the body works, you know, how to be healthy, you know, preserve the temple, to get the you know, to get the best knowledge out of the mind. And yeah, man, for a few years I was in the military. Didn't like it. Liked it. Honorable. My great grandfather did. My grandfather, two grandfathers, two great grandfathers, all fought in wars. You know, this is our country. I'm a proud American. My people fought for this country, for them families. You know, I was in with American Indians, but they didn't like this country because the other man said, nope, this is their country too. They fight too. You know, we got to defend for what's right. But after that,
oh my bad, I didn't mean to cut you, bro. I was gonna ask you, are you from like Fort Apache, Bronx? I know you said you're from the Bronx, from a rough area. Like, is that part? Because I know
it's all rough, man. I'm from the South Bronx originally. My house from the South Bronx. I'm born in the East Bronx. But you know, the way that like the what's that story? West Side Story, right? There's like four corners of the Bronx. You got the Italian, the Irish, the Puerto Rican, and the Caribbean, the black. So dad's from one side, mom's from the other side, and everybody had to move around different ways. But yeah, that's when I was a kid. But that moved over to Jersey. But anyway, you know, only a couple things. My mom told me one thing. You know, she was a social worker her whole life, helping people out. I've been in soup kitchens and homeless shelters since I was a kid, trying to do the right thing. And I had to go with mom anyway. But definitely looked at how to serve community. And when you're in New York, there's really only two kinds of jobs you could. I mean, there's lots of jobs you could have, but there's two main focuses. There's Wall Street. Half the people in New York work on Wall Street, and whether you're an administrative assistant or a broker or something, that's what puts a lot of food in people's mouths. That you wouldn't think of the rich white guy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on Wall Street, basically from the Bronx and from Staten Island, from Jersey City, and I was pretty successful in learning how things work, what's going on, and I spent about 20 years in banking. And towards the end of my career, I saw and realized that farming was the way of the world, right? You'd be surprised how important food and agriculture is to every economy at the highest level, right? So then, now I'm kind of calling myself
food, clothing, and shelter.
It's the civilization. Right, so I go back now to the bio like it is, stuff Dad was taught. Dad was a Black Panther in the '70s, all that kind of stuff, and kung fu, and and you look at it, and it's in the last 3 years, the discoveries, not the last 3 to 5 to 10 years, the discoveries of where humans come from, where humanity comes from, is really from Africa. And when you go back, there's no debate. There's no debate. There's no two races. Is one race, human race, and it evolved from the African man in Africa 150,000 years ago. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at any historical book, the Bible, the Greek Bible, the Egyptian, you could see an emigration of people from the first time they started being civilized was for farming. And that farming took the people from the Middle, Central, East Africa into Ethiopia, and then onward into Saud, which means black, of Arabia, and then over to Tigris and Euphrates and Persia, and we populated the world. And you can see that we also went from South Middle Africa over east into Asia. All right? That's why Asians and Africans have the same thing in common: dark hair, dark skin, dark eyes. Later in history, things happened politically. We didn't know what was going on. They told us during the Dark Ages. But in the Dark Ages, that's when the Moors were also civilizing Europe, teaching them how to farm, how to irrigate, how to navigate, how to understand the stars and the cycles of the stars in order to get the best crops. And so Europe became civilized because of the African migration. In fact, even the humans in Europe came from Africans. There weren't humans in Europe before that, right? And you go back to Rome, the Etruscans, were the North Africans that trained the Romans and the Persians, that trained the Greeks and all that stuff. So anyway, I look back and I said, well, you know, what's going on in the world? It's just people are lost. Give you a kind of skipping around a little bit, but I heard.
Go ahead, brother. I'm
all right.
Keep going.
I heard an interesting statistic about 10 years ago. Said how the black man in America is the lowest on the totem pole, and I was just trying to figure out in which direction they were going in terms of intelligence. The African American man is the lowest on the totem pole, and there was another correlation to that, and that was that the African American man has the highest ego, whereas the single, unmarried, no kids white man with the lowest ego has the highest intelligence and is the most successful. Well, I knew that back and forth, but this new statistic that came out said that the African man in America is the most successful. Look that up any way you want. Go to Harvard, for example. Harvard has affirmative action, right? That means they take in 25% black students. The African American, he don't fit in a lot of. You could be the top kid in Newark, Patterson, Trenton, Detroit, whatever, right? A+ all the way. You go to Harvard, you don't fit in. They're not fitting in. Guess who's accelerating over everybody else? Kenyans, Nigerians, Uganda. The African man from Africa, without that interruption of where they come from, without that interruption of these idols and other things that Western civilization put into the education system, all for good reason. I mean, you know, they want to believe in a, you know, blue-eyed Jesus lived in Africa. Okay. You want to believe in that so you can get people to do the right thing, which is to go to church and to pray and to do the right thing. I was raised Catholic. I'm a big fan of all religions. Now I'm more into Islam, into Buddhism, because each one of these masters was for enlightenment of knowledge, not necessarily worship of self, right? So but anyway, I'm like, well, what's up with the Africans? What do they know that we don't have different? And they have more self-deprecation. And in my career in banking, I worked at the highest levels in banking, like ratings, risk, you know, NASDAQ, banks. China Agricultural Bank has 4 trillion under assets. This is the second largest bank in the world. China Agricultural, 3.7 trillion under assets. And why? What's happening? Why are they doing so well? Because of humility. When you have humility, then you're willing to learn. When you lower your ego, and the ego could be in different ways, but primarily ego is the number one detractor from intelligence. Because when you think you know, you stop learning. Mm-hmm. So every subject that you're trying to accomplish, or you're trying to understand something, if you go in thinking you know, so I got it. All right, then you're done. That's the end of your knowledge. It's the end of your knowledge. And so humility isn't always about being weak. It also has a correlating fact in intelligence and in success. So I left banking, and I heard about cannabis. I smoked all the time. Dad, growing up, the only time I couldn't was in the military. Who was drinking coffee. That's another story, though. Get in trouble. They'll take your pay in 2 seconds, right? But people start talking about this medicine, and I'm like, that ain't medicine. I mean, a medicine a little bit, but to get real medicine, you obviously need to have all these other elements, And I saw the market for cannabis in 2 ways. One is it's a bullshit business. Whenever people talk about they're making money in that business, ain't nobody making money in that business except people who were doing it on the streets. And so all of a sudden this legalization making money, they're not making money. Their stocks are going up. Their stocks went up and they went down. So a lot of people started getting pushed into that. And I'll say I'm concerned about that because weed isn't sustainable to me. You look at how people live with it in Jamaica. Everybody does it on their own. So why would I go into business to do something that somebody should be able to do on their own in their own house in the future? So that's a backwards business. And then the other one is, this thing about stigma. Look, 70% of people don't like to smoke weed. That's the bottom. It ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna change. Everybody who likes cannabis, they're doing it now. They don't need it to be legal to not do it. You know what I'm saying? And so as a business, but what about this hemp stuff? Oh, hemp is the same plant? 3 years ago, I didn't know hemp was the same plant. I thought hemp was the plant that you make shoelaces out of and right. Clothes. It's the same plant. It's sativa. And what they haven't been telling us, but it's all there. You see most of our posts, if you look up the data, go to National Institute of Health, do cannabinoids, National Institute of Health. They tell you CBD kills cancer. Kills cancer. That's what they tell you. And I say in lab rats and things like that. But they don't say THC kills cancer. Well, so I'm like, why are the advocates and everybody so big on THC for cancer? It's not really helping to kill or to stop the disease. What it's doing is help make people feel better. Okay, I get it. That's getting high. Then that has a therapeutic benefit. Absolutely. Therapeutic benefit. You know, you're worried, you're not sleeping, you're not eating. So for therapy, help with the brain to ease some things up. But this CBD stuff, it goes into the cells. It activates other cannabinoids in the cells that allow you to have homeostasis and allow your other processes to move. It's like, I say this to people all the time too. I'm like, I'll ask you, why is an avocado a superfood?
Because of the oil.
Everybody,
because of the fat content.
It is the good fat. You know, it is
I don't know.
Fat.
I mean, I really, you know what? Like, I think of, I just think of something that has many uses as a superfood. Like, I think peanuts are a superfood. I think soy, and I think cannabis. To me, when you can manipulate it to do different things, then it becomes more than just food. You know what I mean? Like with hemp, you can make rope. You can make hempcrete. You can make.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, there's so many different things that can be made. So but I don't know why it's avocado. You tell me why avocados. I can't stand avocados.
Yeah, it's funny. I learned this in Israel. I was like, Israel grows avocados, and I'm like, why you got so big on avocado? And he said because we have a lack of citrus in northern Africa, right? And avocado is a superfood because it has a way of accelerating the absorption of other nutrients such as ascorbic acid and citrus and vitamin C. I said, really? We eat avocados, we grow them as essential to all of our meals so that we can get more omega-3, 6, Bs, vitamin C. Okay, that's interesting. So I started looking at CBD. They're like, it helps with sleep, it helps with inflammation, it helps with this. So what does CBD actually do? It doesn't do anything. But because it helps with inflammation, if you have a psychological issue, your nerves are bouncing off going crazy. You have to have the right foods, omega-3, 6, 9, things like that. But if you work on the inflammation...
I'm listening. My wind keeps blowing.
Yeah, I like your son back there. But you work on the inflammation of your brain, of your nerves. Now you get another effect, calming effect. Now you can fall asleep. See, CBD don't put you to sleep. It's not a sleep drug. It relaxes your mind's inflammation so that the other hormones like melatonin and L-tryptophan and the breakdown of ascorbic acid and sugar puts you to sleep. Now that you go to sleep, this is where you actually wake up. Because once you're sleeping, now your body can repair. And that's when you have a good night's sleep, you wake up with a better mindset, a better way of dealing with it. The other thing, CBD, on the inflammation, as we all know, is every disease is inflammation-based. And everything we do from a Western medicine perspective is to fight inflammation with a toxic drug, whether it's a non-steroidal or a steroidal. Both of these are toxic. So aspirin, Tylenol, ibuprofen, right? These are all non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. And people take them every day for their head, for their feet, for their neck, for this, for that, for their stress, for their pain. And what each one of those things do is kill the liver. So now the side effect of the non-steroidal drugs is the liver is non-productive. Now the person has extra toxins in their body. Where does cancer come from? Toxins. When you get a disease like a virus, like COVID or something, the symptoms of that you get, they don't have nothing to do with the virus. Those symptoms are toxins that your body's trying to fight and kick out, right? It's like you get COVID, you got pneumonia, your body has to fight all that shit out to get it out so you feel better. And it's a 1-2 punch going on. Your immune system getting the immune system. What's the immune system doing? Immune system going crazy. I'll take COVID for example. So all autoimmune diseases, including other diseases, are based on some level of inflammation in the immune system. Multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Lyme disease, fibromyalgia. You could smoke 10 blunts a day at 0.2% CBD, it ain't gonna do shit for any of those diseases. You take straight CBD, and now you're using the plant instead of using ibuprofen. You're freeing up your liver to keep the toxins out. You're beating up the inflammation, and you're allowing the other cannabinoids to be assisted, like a superfood. The THC will work better at that point, right? So you got all these diseases that are around inflammation. CBD addresses those, but it's a plant. But there's other things like herbs, like oregano. I don't know why people don't know. Oregano will knock most shit out of your neck. You got some sort of disease. Take oregano oil. It's mad good for you. You can put oregano oil on your skin. You can put all type avocado oil. This sister, Elastina, Massage Vibes, check her out. She has this great massage oil that she makes, emu, avocado, and coconut. We sent her some CBD. I go, why avocado oil and emu oil? Oh, because it drives the medicine deep down into the skin. And so now you have all, the skin.
What's her website or name?
Massage Vibes. Massage Vibes. Got a little, looks like somebody's crunched over, sort of evolving up the way we evolved up as people. Massage Vibes. Elastina, one of the first massage therapists to incorporate cannabis, particularly CBD, into her therapy. And that helped me get started actually in understanding a lot of the things out there with how to treat pain and inflammation. And CBD is big, but to your point, in getting into this business and why it's just a bigger business. I mean, you can CBD to everybody, babies, everybody, and dogs.
So is it being prescribed now more, or like? I mean, because if you look at the big pharma and the industries, and I saw a film on how Rockefeller basically got rid of plant medicine, changed the whole medical field, and made everybody get onto these petroleum-based medicines, and the whole medical field switched from plant-based medicines to petroleum-based medicines. He did that 100 years ago. Those systems are in place.
Yeah.
And to change a system, you have to uproot it. So with this revelations of CBD's effects, and I get from the standpoint of money, I guess money is going to be the system that come down to it. How much money is being made, that'll be because you're going to have to. But that's a hard battle, I guess. But from the positive standpoint, you're on the ground floor of what's only going to go up.
So we're 100%, but I think the battles are always going to be a challenge, right? The idea is, what's the strategy to win, right? And so defining what winning means is the first step. So each person, I tell everybody, I work at about 30, 40 different vendors around the country. We try to keep it low level in terms of our product because we want to enable other people. The first step is serve, right? Mm-hmm. So I tell people, you're going to go into the cannabis industry. Look at the cannabis industry. Everybody, who's out there, breaking the rules, trying to pioneer, y'all brothers and sisters down in DC did so much for the industry by just doing it, and then they, whatever, right? But same thing with CBD. Get into it. If you want to make some money, you want to do better, go to your own medicine cabinet. Do you have ibuprofen in your shop?
I don't use any medicine at all.
Well, that's you, right? No.
Yeah. But my mother-in-law is on everything. You know what I mean? She's on, she has diabetes, high blood pressure. So she got this for that, and that for this, and this for that. And honestly, for me, it's a hard convince because they see cannabis as a drug, And so for me to tell them, hey, this is going to replace it, I don't even know how unless I can go talk to their doctors and maybe get their doctors to get on board with it.
You're not gonna make a lot of headroom with the doctors because the doctors are licensed, right? If they can't prescribe something that somebody then does themselves and they don't know what they do, and then something happens bad. I'm gonna give you an example in a second. Something happens bad and then it kills it for the whole industry, or the doctor loses their license, right? But let's just go back for a second in terms of the strategy, because you know, cannabis is food and food is medicine. And when you say food is medicine, just like in any medicine, you have to have a specific cause and effect. What are you going to prescribe for what kind of problem? And it doesn't have to be a pharmaceutical discussion, right? It could be a food discussion. I'll give you an example. If you get sick, more than likely it's a virus attack. What's the first thing we do to combat how we get sick? Different people do different things. Some people want to go after the illness with garlic and ginger and this and that. I use coconut oil. I drink baking soda. Baking soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It's produced in the pancreas. The pancreas is the life of your whole second part of your brain, and everything is in your digestive system. That's your pancreas. Pancreas controls sugar, and it controls pH balance. All diseases, all of them, including diabetes, is a form of high acid, and or because you have high acid amounts in your body, diseases thrive, including cancer. So having a higher alkaline body would prevent those diseases from taking root and being chronic. So again, CBD ain't gonna do much from that perspective, but things like sodium bicarbonate, 75 cents, you can get a box of baking soda. You can use it to clean your food, to clean the acid and the dirt off your food. You can clean your body with it, take off dirt, acid, bacterial infections, psoriasis, all types of things with baking soda. You drink it. You drink it. You give yourself a second pancreas, basically. And just
You're supposed to brush your teeth with it too, right? I mean, I remember.
You can brush your teeth with it too. I would recommend gargling. I brush my teeth with it every now and then. All my enamel's gone because they will scrape your enamel away. But the idea with the teeth is to break up the bacteria, so you can actually gargle and rinse with baking soda as a way of keeping your mouth very clean. Do you know that that your heart health is dependent on your mouth health? Like they correlate. Your mouth has disease, like the smokers, right? Another reason why I like hemp. Smoking cigarettes. You don't get lung cancer that often. I mean, of course, you're going to get the other things. You primarily get heart disease because the smoke goes right into your lungs and go right to your heart, right? And it also smoke also fucks with your mouth. I'm talking about smoking tobacco, nicotine products. Very, very bad for you. Very, very bad for us because it does things to our heart, right? Cannabis don't do anything to you. It's like literally you dying of cancer or something else. Smoke this. You got a weight problem, smoke this, right? And cannabis is amazing because of other things in it like terpenes and CBG and CBN and THC. THC is fun. People just think, I don't like THC. I'm like, no, I do. But I'm saying, why focus on that one thing when there's all these other things you got to work on, right? So I look at hemp, and I see what they're doing. They've already done it, by the way. I'm gonna give you a couple timelines. It's already done, people. It's already done, and it's at your fingertips. The game is over. When they said they changed the farm bill to allow farmers to grow hemp, I go, wait a second. Let's look at the size of that market of farmers. It's the largest business in the United States. It's also the largest welfare in the United States. See, they try to distract us with, y'all brown people are poor and underprivileged and there's white privilege. There ain't no white privilege in this country. I'm not gonna fuck with anybody says, sorry. 70% of the people in this country are white and 70% of the people who are poor are white, and they live out in the sticks. Where I'm from, I grew up poor. Mother was a social worker, made less than $20,000 by the time she was 60 years old, and we live better than people who live out in the sticks eating squirrels. I never ate a squirrel. That's poor.
That's a trip because I remember we had a raccoon in my house, right? and we had to get a trapper. He came from, and I don't even live in the city. He's like, he said, man, I don't get to the city much. I said, this ain't the city. But I said, man, he gonna eat that raccoon. You
He
can
gonna
just
eat
tell,
it.
I could tell by the way he looked. He looked like he looked like he had a raccoon beard, like like raccoon hair was growing out his face. But yeah, man.
I mean, that's poverty, bro. That's real poverty, right? And we have our people. We don't see that. We get the political version of poverty, and
we get what the news say. I mean, basically, the news promotes black poverty. Well, they do it all over the world too. That's what I was going to ask you about earlier as well when you said ego, because it was two points you made earlier when you said ego. Those points would hit home, like our egos as black men are bigger than anybody in the world, but in the education. But then I thought about it from the standpoint of I think that there's a self-hate that permeates and a insecurity.
Oh yeah,
that permeates.
That's one of the reasons why our ego's so high.
But I got you, because the ego is the overcompensation. Got you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the overcompensation for the insecurity. Got you.
But but it goes back to buck breaking. I mean, I keep it as real as real. It go back to buck breaking. You know that in order to have people in slavery, you had to break this man off from his relationship to his people. Who is his people? Woman and child. Right? It's the same shit they've been doing with Jesus. Right? I might offend some people. Sorry. But Jesus was a black man from Ethiopia who came to Israel because the Zionists who were coming down had this other idea of what they wanted to do with the Romans and the gods and the Europeans. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because most of the stuff about Jesus is all this fairy tale shit. At the end of the day, Jesus taught a lesson in symbols. This is the Grail, the Holy Grail. This is where the blood of Jesus is. This represents the womb. And this, the triangle, represents the male. When you put them together, you have the star. Jesus was about love of family. The woman and the man and the child. The covenant. Whether it's Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, right? But in slavery, in all directions, you can start with Christianity. They removed the woman and they removed the family in order to keep people separate and train them into the different areas that they wanted to. So they did that very successfully with the black man, but it was also kind of coinciding with Western civilization teaching of all of a sudden some guy came out of the sky. And that's a bunch of bullshit. There were people here for hundreds of thousands of years living all around the world, right? The world wasn't invented, in the 1600s with Michelangelo painting a picture of Jesus and all these other babies and things like that. But that's kind of the idea that permeated not only from Europe. It wasn't meant to specifically be against us. It was just to kind of help train their, keep their people in check. And you see that today. So the form of slavery we have is false information. And when you give people things, when you give people information, once they think they know, they're not going to want to learn anymore. We as a society are dumb. We're ignorant because of our ego. So like to your point, it is essential for the news, who's the agent of the devil, the devil is the evil of the devil's in the details, all these details that they give us, they just put information in us so we think we know. For example, I say some crazy shit. There's no COVID in Africa. Black people don't get COVID more than white people. That's nonsense. Why would they say that? But some of it is true. I lost some people, and some of it is true. So I go down to our area. What do we eat? We eat the wrong things that would consume anybody with disease, right? So part of the education and battling this stuff is going back to self. You got to eat the right food. You can't take a pill or smoke something and get better if you're eating the wrong shit.
Real. Hey, I wanted to ask you this. Are you vegan? Because I saw something about plant-based. Where was it? Hold on a second, bro. I got my joints in the middle. But you said something about on one of the podcasts. I saw you talking about plant-based immunity.
Yep.
Vaccines versus plant-based immune therapy.
Yeah.
So I was at. Are you vegan or plant-based?
So I'm flexitarian. So I've always been a thin guy. Excuse me. Did a lot of sports. Was always thin. Always wanted to get bigger. Didn't grow up on a meat diet. But it's funny. I ran. I wrestled. Played ball. I swam. I was a Navy diver, underwater demolition team. Some people know what that might mean. And I was 150 pounds coming out of high school, qualifying for the Navy SEALs because I was able to swim. When I went into for the SEAL test, this was in 1992. Basically, it's a simple one. You gotta do some running, you gotta do some swimming and some push-ups, blah blah. And the first thing they do is they start asking you questions like, you know, what did you get on your ASVAB score? What school are you going to? So 90% of people got kicked out right away. The second group of people then had to start swimming. They were like, well, black people sink. They can't swim because they sink. No, we don't swim because we don't swim in the projects, right?
Because we don't have no swimming pools.
Yeah, no swimming pool. The projects I grew up in, we had the YMCA, so I learned how to swim when I was 5 years old. But anyway, why am I saying all that? Because I started thinking that eating more meat would help me gain weight as I got older, right? We all think that we need protein. We actually don't. We're not meant to eat, right? So I've been cutting meat out as I've been learning more about herbs, things that I knew 20, 30 years ago or should have known. I didn't incorporate. Now I'm cutting animals out because it's not just their hormones and things like that, but for me it's performance. See, all the fat that we get from animals, once we cook it, in fact, there's nothing good in the animal fat. Zero. Zero. Only bad. Only bad. Including disease. If you name a disease, you can figure out which animal it came from. So let's take COVID, for example. It used to be called swine flu. Right? It used to be called swine flu. Then it's SARS, H1N1. Then it mutates to COVID. It's pig disease. Don't eat pigs. You won't get affected by COVID. I swear to God. Everybody knows you can't give a dog pork. I like pork. I had some the other day. I'm trying not to. You know.
You can't give a dog. I didn't know that. You can't give a dog pork.
Nah, the disease in the pork, most likely the dog won't digest it. They can get really sick.
They get sick right away.
They get sick right away, or they can hold on to some of those. Because we can't break down meat. We're not carnivores.
I know that. Listen, man, I had a Genesis 129. It was written.
All right.
I had a
So you've eaten
my whole but it started my whole journey started with a revelation that I got when I was talking about August 4th, which was Pura Vida. I had to purify my life. I stopped eating meat. I stopped fornicating, and I stopped drinking.
Good for you. Good for you. 100.
And those three things took me on a different trajectory. I used to be 260 pounds. Easy.
Wow.
And I went down to 170. Right now, I don't know what I weigh. I don't weigh myself no more. But I know what I look like and what I used to look like. I can show you pictures. And but what I mean, like, and I get messages from the ether. That's how I get my training, right? But what I was told was that if you look at meat, and I'll tell you this, when your arteries are going to clog eventually, just depending on how much meat you eating, right?
Only meat.
So
only meat.
Yeah. And so it's like shavings and metal shavings, right? Whenever you eat meat, this is like little metal shavings going into your arteries, and they just magnetizing and sticking together and forming. And then at some point, you're gonna have to get a stent, or you're gonna have to stop eating meat. They're gonna tell you're gonna have to stop eating meat. Like I said, mine came from a higher power, but you have to stop it. And then the beauty about it is that you don't have to. Like, there are so many people right now in this world, in today's time, where I've been 15 years. I'm good. And I stopped getting sick.
I mean, you know, like I have a lot of brothers that are Rastafari, right? And they don't eat meat. Sometimes some meat, you know, sometimes some fish. Chicken every now and then, but mostly fish, And you know, they still got big problems. You know, they still got disease issues because the way you prepare food also, right? So sorry to interrupt, but even if you don't eat meat, like I know a lot of vegetarians who are 300 pounds and they got heart issues because they're frying up olive oil with sugar. all that white powder you ain't supposed to eat either. There's a reason why sugar is brown initially. Eat it raw, right? And the vegetables raw. and so people go, I eat salad, I eat vegetables. You cooking it. First of all, and this is part of like the cannabis discussion too. First of all, we don't even absorb all the things that we put in our mouth. That's the purpose of avocados and other superfood, to help you absorb more. Because just because you put something in your mouth don't mean you absorb it. So then what you do put in your mouth, you got a bioavailability factor. Anything you put in your stomach is going to get broken down, whether it's a supplement, you take Centrum, you take some multivitamin, you're getting 2% of that. You take a multivitamin that costs $34, you got 78 cents worth of urine every day, basically. You're gonna get some trace. It's not a 0-0. You're gonna get 2%.
Right.
Good. You
Right.
get selenium. You have selenium in your brain. You probably won't get Alzheimer's. Once you have Alzheimer's, can you give selenium? No, because it's part of the the support of our life. And when you get to a certain point in your life and you didn't have that going in, you're gonna have problems coming out. And more people, most of us get some sort of disease or something right around 50, 54. That's when everything starts falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's too late,
Mm-hmm.
right? So convincing younger people about eating a healthier life. My daughter told me last year, she's like, I'm going vegan. I thought, and she's in last year of college, killing it. She was looking at sports medicine, this and that, and she's like, it's just bad for you. And then in this industry, we have people telling me things that I knew what was right and wrong, right? I had given up the white powder, sugar, flour, all that crap. Now I eat more carbs because I eat less meat, right? But the movie The Game Changers, Game Changers. If you haven't seen it, see it. If you're young, if you're trying to have a healthy body, if you're trying to be in the NFL, in the NBA, you're running, you want to look good, feel good, and perform, eat no animal. The protein in the plants, even though it's 1% of the protein in the animals, the protein in the plants come along with magnesium and iron and zinc and all the other things that our blood is made out of. Our blood is made out of magnesium and iron. Our bones are made out of magnesium and calcium and zinc and all these other things. And those are the things that fight disease, but those are the things that also allow protein to absorb. So you go to a higher beam. They used to make fun of Nation of Islam brothers back in the day. They used to give out bean pies. Right? They were trying to tell, eat more beans, eat more plant-based protein to get your protein, and you will perform better. Your stress levels will go down, your disease will go down, the pain, inflammation, and you will perform better.
Well, the other thing as well, what we spoke about earlier, is that when you eat meat, you don't rest. Your body takes so much time to break it down that your body is not resting or sleeping properly because it's digesting and fighting to break down this hard piece of leather you just put inside of you.
I never thought of that. That's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Especially if you eat it late at night, 10 o'clock at night, you eat a hot dog or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your shit is like this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because your body is literally, and I'm going to tell you, look, this happened to me. I stopped eating chicken. I stopped eating beef. I don't know, man. I was like 2021. And I stopped just because I was like, I'm going to just start eating chicken sandwiches when I go to McDonald's. I'm going to start getting a McChicken instead of a Big Mac. And I just stopped eating chicken one year for like maybe a year or two, right? Then I went about a year later to a cookout, and they had hamburgers. I said, let me try one of them hamburgers. I ain't had a hamburger in a couple of years. And I ate that hamburger, dude. I swear, man, I felt it going through me. It felt like a rock was just going through my stomach. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's what beef do? But if you're used to doing it, your body get used to that pain. You know what I mean? You're used to it. Them hard shits and taking all type of different laxatives and everything to Pepto-Bismol, all these things I thought about that people take just to eat. Like if you got to take an antacid to eat, won't you just stop eating the stuff that give you the acid?
And then if you start doing things that are anti-acid, you find that you actually don't want the meat that much anymore. Like you mentioned hamburger. I love hamburgers still, but I don't make them. I haven't turned my grill on in 2 years. If I go out, all right, here and there, I still enjoy it. Consciously, I probably shouldn't, because from a even higher level of elevation perspective, we're not supposed to be killing things, and that's something that I'm dealing with. But just from a practical perspective, you still got to live on the earth, right? So that goes back to ego again, and intelligence, right? When we all feel bad at some point every day, we all feel bad. We have to do things to make ourselves feel better. Some of us pray, some of us exercise, some of us medicate, right? But some of us want to eat what we want to eat. That's a form of ego. God damn it, I'm pissed. I'm gonna go have a fucking, chocolate cake and drive 8,000 calories into the pancreas, overloading the pancreas with work so that it can't process sugar, making people diabetic. 95% of all people who are diabetic are obese. There's a correlation between diabetes and obesity. The obesity is all the fat and all the other stuff that breaks down and hurts the rest of the organs. But it's because the pancreas is too tired to process sugar that it lets all the fat go into the system and then starts deregulating your sugar abilities. Right? 95% of diabetes is diabetes. So, the plants help to balance those things. If you have more of a plant-based diet, less of a processed diet, that's just natural. But some people still want to do what they want to do, and then they want a pill to take that away. So maybe I want to talk a little bit about the whole social equity thing. Because you talk about Rockefeller. I know I'm going a little all over the place.
Go ahead, bro. Speak on it.
But one of the things that I see that we're missing in this industry is asking them to give us something that they don't have. We already established that the white man's the poorest man in America, so they ain't gonna give you shit. And the ones who are rich, that's their money. And Rockefeller was poor. Okay, Rockefeller made $1.38 working on the train when he was 12 years old a week. Okay, after he became rich, that's another story. But we don't get nothing from him. All right, when the white man came here, he was poor too. He had to borrow money from this one to get this one to fight that one, and they're always at war with each other. Fuck them. Right? Let them do what they got to do. But they also took their nickels and dimes and little quarters and shit from their little, immigrant, dying from Black Plague in Ireland and Italy, and they started doing businesses together so they could hire each other and they could move on. In 1962, I think Brother Malcolm talked about, in 1962, the American black family had a $20 billion spending capacity. And where do we put our money? With their businesses. And now we're like, we need equity. We need something for. No, you don't. We got so much spending power. We should be spending in our. And it don't matter what color you are. You have white people in the black neighborhoods. Why we gotta be, So we should start to integrate, not from a I like you because you're black. Nah, that race that's dead. Nobody knows any plantation owners. In fact, they all took their hoods off and they're in the Democratic Party. You want to know who the KKK are? It's the people who had us as slaves physically, and now they have us as slaves mentally, all locked up in one area. That's who the KKK is. Who cares about the dudes out in the woods? There ain't nobody out in the woods. Who cares about them? They're poor. They got no teeth. They suffer just like everybody else. Get your ass out in the woods. We go in the woods. We go into some land. We get our own land. The government will start giving us the same money they give them. That's social equity. You can get a house for nothing if it's on a farm. You can learn how to grow food, corn, tobacco. You don't need a college education for that. You don't need anything. You learn how to farm. You can get food. You put it into the environment. You start growing food in a field 2-3 acres wide. You're getting energy credits from the government. Here you go, because you're a minority farmer. Here you go, because you're a woman farmer. You're a beginner farmer. 0% interest to buy your house, to buy your land. Here's money for operations. Now you can feed, but you have to want to be in that side of the business. And if anybody thinks that farming is not big business, I can show you in Newark, New Jersey, 3 people own this farm. They rent from the city. They probably do $4 to $5 million a year. I work there as a contractor. You know we grow? Herbs for lettuce. That's it.
I got to get you, man. My buddy, Farmer Hodge the God. He's in what part of New Jersey you in?
I'm in North Jersey, close to Newark and the city.
He's in Red Bank.
Yeah.
But he's doing, and he's actually going for oh man, what's it? I forgot what it's called when it's full scale. Vertical. He's going for a vertical in orange right now, but they just went through passing the orange, speaking of black people, and shooting ourselves in the foot. And I was talking about this with Bo Money last week. this church lady, a cop, and somebody else stopped cannabis from being sold in Orange County. So now you're gonna cut off that economic pipeline to your suffering community, so they can, I guess, stay in the church and keep giving it, stay in the church. I guess that's where they want to keep it there. I'm trying to figure it out, but a lot of people have this idea, especially older church people, not older black people, and I get it too, because of what happened in the 80s with crack. Some of these people had to raise their own grandbabies and things like that, so they see that. But
and I gotta say, I mean to interrupt, but if you look at what the DEA says about weed, they really don't care. See, again, it's on us to be more responsible, in my opinion, right? I rub the wrong way with a lot of people when I say things like, I don't want to see weed regulated legally by the government. They'll sell it legally. Everybody should be able to do it themselves, right? That means that if people are doing it themselves, they don't need your shit. I mean, unless they want to, right? So don't focus business on that. But the other part is you can make more money. You could do more things by selling CBD hemp products to people who smoke cigarettes. Here, don't smoke that cigarette. Don't smoke that Newport 100, which you've been smoking for 20 years of your life. You probably gave Philip Morris out here over $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 smoking cigarettes, and you're killing your. Try this hemp cigarette instead. It's not hemp versus weed. I don't like CBD. I like weed. Yeah, me too. But I see you smoking a cigarette, right? And so there's more opportunity on the hemp side if you think of it that way, because now everybody they can't stop you from selling the hemp. One person, you'll give a couple little points, right? So if you can grow 50 pounds of hemp, you can make a kilogram of CBD, a kilogram of powder, a kilogram of whatever. You sell a little bottle of CBD for $50, which is a good price. You're talking $50,000 on 50 pounds of hemp. 50 pounds of hemp you could grow in a studio apartment in your house. whether or not you're allowed to is another story. You try to do the same thing with weed, you ain't gonna do it. I mean, even if you got the best, and you're getting 3,000-4,000 a pound, I mean, you gotta move a lot of pounds to get to that, right? And you got a lot of distraction in the meantime. But anyway, the DEA says we don't care about THC. We don't care about weed. Our problem is mixing it, because we know everybody drinks. So when you drink and smoke, they're never going to be able to control that. That's what's killing people. Now we got pills on a regular basis. People drink pills in the club. They're snorting them, and this and that. They're lacing them with the weed. Now you got an interaction that they can't control. So I'm with them. Watch how you legalize that. If it's personal, if it's adult that have it, okay. But you got a store selling, and all these dispensaries, they only after high levels of THC. They're never going to be successful in the ghetto. They're going to be successful when middle class, Americans go, oh, I got my license now, I can go get it. That's where they're going to be successful. So it's not going to bring a lot of commerce to the ghetto. It's going to take it away. The people who got any kind of background, any kind of issue, they're never going to be able to participate in that legal market, no matter how many times we complain and whine about it. They ain't going to change that law. They're not going to change that law. So
now, how can you, you just said something about, I was going to ask you that, how can you in an urban setting grow CBD, or even, like, it seems like to me that if they're selling CBD everywhere, you got to have a big operation to get into the CBD market as well. You can't just jump right in either, because, I mean, it's already that market is already full.
You would think so. And so, I mean, you're probably right, but what I'm saying, what I'm about to tell you is another way to look at it, right? So it's not just hemp versus weed. Hemp is regulated by the USDA and the FDA. It's not regulated by the FDA. It's considered not a drug, but the first letter in the FDA stands for food. So everything you put on your face, everything you put in your body, makeup, lotion, toothpaste, is all FDA regulated, not as a drug, but as food products. Everything we put on our body, food products. You can put CBD in everything I just mentioned. Lotion, eye drops, toothpaste, right? Skincare products. Everybody can make those, right? You don't have to grow it. Growing it is going to be an issue, but if you want to get into growing it, now that's a whole other level. That means you got to get out the ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I call it the ghetto is that's an Italian term. The Italians invented it first when they put Jews together in little areas before Hitler did it. The Italians were doing this. So the word ghetto is an Italian word which means to put a certain group of people on top of each other in a concentrated area, right? That's their form of segregation. 90% of black people live in urban areas. 90%. How to grow it? You got to get out. And it's easy to go out. So for me, in Jersey, the reason why I love Jersey is because we're 9 million people. We got 3 of the worst cities in the country, Trenton, Camden, and Newark. Continue to rank as the worst cities in the country per capita. 9 million people, but because they're on top of each other. But meanwhile, we got mountains and we got land sitting there that people couldn't even pay their taxes on. The taxes, we're getting a farm. We have one we've been leasing. It cost me a lot of money to lease, and because of my banking history, I was able to tie into finances. But I mean, I work for $13 an hour to pay the bills. I sell CBD. That's great. I got a mortgage. I came from a $253,000, $400,000 salary lifestyle to want to become a farmer. People are like, you crazy. But I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of land in Jersey, and there's millions of people 20 miles away. So a lot of us have a car. A lot of us have a car. A lot of us can get a car. So what did I do? I went out to Pennsylvania, and I met with the Amish. I can get a pound of hemp for $150, $100. Quality hemp flower. I didn't have to grow it. 1 pound, I can make $2,000 to $3,000 if I brought it to the market. So a lot of people could do that from the hemp side. But the other part I was going to say is food. The food industry is the biggest. When you start looking at how to incorporate CBD into candy, into drinks, into juices, into shampoos, into bath bombs, and you just 1 or 2 people, and you live in Irvington, New Jersey, where you got like a 500,000 people within a square mile, that's money. They're buying something. They're already buying the shampoo. They're already buying the lotions. So you know, it's not about making money on something new. This isn't new industry because it's food. There's already business, trillions of dollars of business in the food industry, and all they're gonna start doing is just adding CBD and adding these other products. They're not gonna be adding THC for ever, in my opinion.
Right. Ever. Right. I got you. Unless you are going through that regulation, but what basically CBD is unregulated. I mean, not unregulated, but meaning it's legal. You can that's what I want to ask you as well. Can you trade it nationally? Like, so you said you go from Pennsylvania, so you can go to Pennsylvania, buy CBD, and bring it to New Jersey. You can't do that with THC.
No, you can't. You have to be careful with CBD too. So let's just go back to the laws, right? The law says cannabis is a Schedule I controlled substance, unless there's local programs like state programs. So being a Schedule I, and this is for everybody who's getting into D8 as well. You got to understand the law. The law says cannabis is a controlled substance. Anything extracted from cannabis is a federal violation. Anything extracted from cannabis that included CBD. So when they had hemp programs in 2014, 2018, that was a state program. It wasn't until this time last year, exactly January 2020, the USDA stepped up and said, we're a federal agency and we will now regulate hemp and CBD. That made it federal if you are a part of the federal guidelines. And the federal guidelines are being a farmer. If you qualify to be a farmer, you qualify to grow hemp. There's different kinds of farmers. There's urban farmers that do it in I know a brother in Philly. He got the largest beehive in the maybe even in the state. A brother, former police chief, in a house in downtown. So there's different ways of farming. So that's why I looked at the greenhouse business, because of urban farming. So the second thing that happened is April again 2020. While they distracting us with this COVID shit, CBD and food was just moving up and moving into everything, into the hundreds of billions. We can't even see it. I give you take Poland Spring, for example. They sell 3 million bottles of water a day. They're going to put CBD in their bottle of water. How much money do you think they're going to be making? Next to 25 cents for CBD bottle of water, 20 million a day. You're talking about $1 billion a week. You think weed can do that? No, CBD can't, right? So the second thing that happened last April was the DEA says, hey, y'all, that list the scheduled narcotics list and cannabis, because everybody, hemp is cannabis, same plant. Marijuana, hemp, same plant. They just have different levels of THC. You know how that law says anything extracted from cannabis is a Schedule 1? Well, CBD is naturally in there. We're going to take CBD out and remove it completely. So it's in any form of the scheduled list of narcotics. That means you can get CBD from the Taliban right now and they don't care because it's completely deregulated, the extracted version of it. That's no longer legal. The day that happened, Pepsi signed their contract. All right, now we can do it. All the big food companies, all the big makeup companies, okay, now we can do it. Because now, not only is it federally being regulated by the USDA, but the DEA says specifically CBD is no longer on the scheduled list. So if somebody can have a truck full of CBD isolate that literally came from the cartel. They don't give a shit where it came. It's like salt. If I ask you, where'd you get your salt from? You know, it don't matter. If it tests as salt and it has pure, right? So the food industry is the biggest industry. Walmart.
Hold on, bro. Just move it. We good. I'm gonna just leave it there.
I like that background better.
Yeah, let's leave it like that one.
Yeah. I'm normally out in the back like that, but it's all good. But the food industry is where the money's at, and the food industry is where the medicine is at. You see, so even getting people away from pharmacological toxins, get them to healthy food.
Right.
Now you're growing hemp, you should be growing oregano. You're growing a little bit of rice, you should grow some tomato, grow some carrots, grow some grapes, make smoothies. You could do it all within a little thing, or you could serve people, but the money's already there. It's already there. And the regulations are already there when you think differently. Food versus drugs, right? THC is a drug. And the reason why THC is a drug is because it changes your mindset. It's a healthy mindset for some people. Other people can't handle it. If some people drink and do other kinds of drugs, the THC is going to fuck them up even more. There's all kinds of arguments like, okay, heroin, I think Maine is still the capital of opiate death, suicide, murder, crime, everything. Hell's Angels, everybody's up in Maine for some reason, right? And now you can have 6 pounds of weed in Maine. So the heroin and opiate stuff went down, but now you got people just smoking weed all day long, right? So good on one side. On the other side,
but they ain't dying though.
They ain't dying, but on the other side, they're not as productive.
They're not productive as well.
And I see CBD as being that balance. I smoke a lot, all the time. And when I started incorporating CBD, I found that I didn't have that lag anymore. I didn't need to smoke so much. I sleep better now. The pain goes away. I'm not just high and dealing with the pain, right? So lots of future. But I guess
everybody who talked to me about CBD said you're supposed to mix it. That's what you're really supposed to do. You're supposed to, if you want the full effect of the plant, you're supposed to mix the CBD and the THC, and that's what works.
Yeah, that it works. They both help each other, right? For again, depending on what you want to do. But I would just caution people: don't mix CBD weed with your regular weed because you ain't gonna feel nothing.
Okay.
And let me
do them separately.
Yeah, let me explain, right? So, and you can look this up. Anything I say, definitely my opinion, but look it up. My boys are doctors. I study biology. It's all out there. It's just read it. Nipsey Hussle was trying to tell you too. Just look on the government website. They already tell you, right? So, THC, as you know, releases an endocannabinoid in the brain called anandamide. Anandamide is part of the neurotransmitters in the brain that are associated with CB1 receptor. They only exist in the brain. So in order to get anandamide into your blood and into your life, you need THC to go to your brain. Now you got all this high in your head. You can do anything you want to do with that. If you leave it in your head, you got the psychological part, right? Which helps with, depression and creativity, and it is beautiful. But if you want to get all of that out of your head now, because you got a pain in your shoulder, then take CBD. See, I like the 1-2 punch effect, primarily for pain treatment. The same thing is in pharmaceuticals, right? You take you got a broken shoulder, they give you a Percocet. You look at what's going on. The Percocet is Tylenol right?
Mhm.
And opiate. The
Mhm.
opiate makes you feel good. The Tylenol helps with the inflammation. The same thing
Mhm.
with oxycodone. Same thing with morphine. There's an anti-inflammatory, and then there's the drug on the therapeutic side. So you need
Mhm.
that same kind of 1-2 effect. When you have CBD at the same time as THC, then the THC doesn't go to your brain as much. So then you
Mhm.
don't get as much anandamide.
Mhm.
So I'm very much in favor. I want to see the progression of the medical marijuana market continue the way it is, because I think when people break their shoulders or get into a bad car accident or something else, they should not be taking 8,000 milligrams of Tylenol every day. It's
Mhm.
killing their liver. I
Mhm.
don't care. You would take heroin, morphine. That really, honestly, that really doesn't hurt you as much as the steroids, right?
With the liver, right?
With the liver, right? And that ultimately is what we're dying from. It's not the ability not to protect and clean our bodies and protect us from other disease. So I would like to see lots of people like in Maine take high levels of THC up into the
Mhm.
brain, but then you got to follow it with pure CBD. Drip all that good anandamide. Ananda, it comes from the Indian word, Sanskrit Indian word, which means the bliss molecule. Bliss. You got to get all that anandamide into the brain. That's bliss, right? You leave it in the brain, you have bliss in the brain. But if you want to bring that therapy down to the body, to the other parts of the body,
Other chakras.
all the chakras, exactly, right down the spine, to hit
Mhm.
all those points, for hit your heart here, this chakra, hit your lungs,
Mhm.
hit your stomach, hit your digestion. That's what CBD has a big role.
That's dope, man. Look, I want to ask you. I want to ask you. Let me go. I'm gonna go to two kind of different questions, and I'm gonna wrap it up because I want to talk about your business. But first, I
Yeah.
want to ask you some questions about investing. Hold on a
Yes,
second.
sir.
I'm all over the place. If you had $2,000 to $10,000, um, where would you invest it to get, I guess, the safest flip? Well, I had two questions. Okay, is is it better, or I don't know, I'm asking your opinion since you did finance. Is it better to invest in the stock market or real estate?
Real estate. And
Okay,
that's what I'm doing, by the way. But I'll explain. But definitely real
real
estate.
estate.
I'm out of the
Okay.
stock market. I literally tell people I built a lot of the stock market. I used to work not for Nasdaq, but I was at MCI, and we ran the Nasdaq platform. It was the only computer trading exchange in the world, 2002, 2003. Then it all digitized, right?
Mhm.
And there's all types of liquidity. That's what you see today. You see all this, right? You want to invest in that market, you don't have a shot by yourself. Go to Goldman Sachs, give your money to Goldman Sachs, let them do it. That's my advice to anybody who wants to be in the stock market. Don't try to compete with them.
Figure it out yourself. Mhm.
Yeah, don't try to figure it out yourself. Go into a fund, right? As a senior
Mhm.
financial advisor, right? Me personally, I don't do that anymore because I
Mhm.
lost it all. And I had this and that. And I was in Bitcoin. I went out of Bitcoin 10 years ago. 10 years
Mhm.
ago. And I should have stayed into it, right? But and the reason why I say that too is because that's how people look at cannabis. It's a not for all. It is a 1% gain. You can't look with a social justice, social equity, capitalism, and control don't work the same way. It either has to be free or it has to be controlled. And get used to the fact that THC gonna be controlled. Ideally, you want it to be free. And if it's gonna be free for all of us, then the prices go down. Why would you
Mhm.
invest in that? So
Mhm.
surplus, supply and demand. Stock market, same thing. There's somebody has something, there's a massive supply, there's a massive demand, nobody has it, then that's the time to get in.
Mhm. Buy
It,
low, sell high.
it's buy low, sell high. If everybody's already like everybody we know is in cannabis. Everybody I know want to have their own company.
Right.
Why? That's too many people, right?
Right.
But but real estate is easy to measure your risk. You could go on
Mhm.
Zillow and Trulia, and I'll just say the reason for my business is producing products, but it's really flipping real estate. So, like I said before, about the poorest people in this country who live out in rural areas, they take up 70% of welfare.
This guy. What's up,
Oh,
man?
that's dope, man.
All right.
That's dope. They get a check for not farming. Look up the last time they did the unemployment numbers in the country, right? They
Mhm.
talk about non-farm payroll. They're
Mhm.
counting non-farm payroll as a separate form of welfare.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, Who's the richest company in the world? Amazon, about to go into farming. Costco, Walmart, Bill Gates owns
Bill
more
Gates.
farmland than anybody else. This ain't, look this up. Number 2 largest bank in the world, China Agricultural, 3.7 trillion. Forget the billions, baby. These guys are in the trillions, and they're in food. So the market's there. Now, in terms of real estate, what you could do, so you talked about where you are, how people can get involved. I drive 45 minutes now to the mountains in Jersey. It takes me about 2 hours to get to Red Bank, just to go down South Jersey. Down South Jersey is beautiful. You know, lots of farmland, people making millions. You want to buy a farm. They make $1 million a year selling Christmas trees. You know what I mean? They're going to charge you $10 million to buy the farm. You go up into the mountains of Jersey or the mountains of Pennsylvania, you can get 5-10 acres for like $15,000. That means your mortgage is $23 a month, right? Essentially. So now you got this access to this land. Yeah, your credit's bad. You need some money, but you got to go through a mortgage process if you were going to buy a house anyway. So as an investor, this lowers the ability, raises the ability for many lower income people, or people challenged like me, 2 kids, you know, this is that, trying to go to school. I don't got money for a house. How can I invest? I go get some farmland. I go get a loan to build a house. How much is the land worth now? It's worth more than the loan that I got for the house. You get a piece of land, 5-10 acres, that you got for $50,000, and you build a house on it that costs you $100,000. You got a $500,000 house, and you don't owe anybody anything. And now you're sitting on wealth. So buy low, sell high. Lots of opportunity for most people, especially when they live in an urban concentrated area like the East Coast, anywhere, is to look into getting farmland in a cheap area. Now you may like, for me, people are like, well, you're up in the woods, you're up in the mountains. How do you farm that? You know, I don't put anything in the ground anyway. I put it in pots. You know what I'm saying? You protect that. Now you can grow things all year long, and you can get contracts. Deterministic. You know what? I'll take your hemp. Can you get me 10 pounds a month? Sign a contract. Got it. You got a 200-pound hemp deal with a local store or something like that, because you're going to promise that you're going to deliver something. Now you have different sources of income. But you're sitting on your own wealth. You got your own land. Got your own land. We don't need 40. We don't need 40 acres and a mule. 4 acres do it.
Right.
4 acres do it.
take your money and take that. Okay. Now, if you had $2,000 to $10,000 to invest, what would be a good way to? Well, like, what would you say? What would you do with that if you had $2,000 to $10,000 to invest right now? You just wanted to flip it to make it 4 to 20.
We'll keep it in the industry. Right.
Okay.
2000, I would encourage people to go hook up with another CBD company. Don't start your own. Hook up with another one. Get some of their product at wholesale. You know, whatever. You got $2,000, you can probably buy like 40, 50 bottles at a wholesale rate, right? And go help sell and get it into the market. You'll double your money on every CBD sale. CBD right now, those oils, they average between $70,000 and $80,000 a kilogram, $40,000 a pound. That's more than anything. That's more than any kind of street work out there. $40,000 a pound worth of units. CBD is a big business, so I would recommend that. Another way to look at it is the pre-roll market. The pre-roll market is very attractive. So there's 455 grams in a pound. If you could pull off a pound of hemp, good hemp, right? And sometimes, well, I don't have the best. The stuff we try to grow is mostly for the oils, but we get some stuff from Oregon, which I think is the best in the world, right? You got some nice flour, real medicine, $500. Give the farmer $500. You got 450 grams. Roll them up in something nice. Roll up 400 of them. Roll up 400. Keep 50 grams for yourself, right? That's 2 ounces for yourself, right? Make some oil, whatever. You roll up 400 grams, sell it for $5. You made $2,000 on a $500 investment. That's 300%. Maybe you got to sell all those pre-rolls.
Right.
But you can sell them anywhere they sell cigarettes. You know, when you go to the liquor store or something like that, you see there's not just one brand. There's 100 brands of cigarettes. They don't mind putting yours up there too. And you can say, can you put mine in the front? I'm from the community, whatever. You got a car, you could walk. I mean, in Newark, you could walk 2 miles and hit 50 stores, right? So that's one way you can put your money to work, and you're doing a good thing. Because to get people to smoke hemp in the pre-rolls
Over.
instead of cigarettes, instead of alcohol, see, the hemp is supposed to help you block a lot of the other things we got. So when we feel bad, we have rage, we're pissed off, this and that, we go to drink. That's what I do. Right? And the hemp and CBD kind of block that a little bit. So all our communities, we should be moving it around. Moving it around. You'd be surprised that there's a lot of good brothers, you know, out there, and everybody else that have good hemp. I would say the other thing is, you may not have the best, but at least you can get it from your community. If you know somebody in the hemp business, right, that you want to support, and you want to say why you like their CBD or hemp or cannabis, it's because they're from the community. Right? We don't be fighting about this and that. Like, I want to support local people. So, like I said, I don't have any competitors because I don't see anybody trying to do what I'm doing with my community anyway. I don't view other people in the industry as a competitor. You know what I mean? I'm glad that they're doing what they're doing in Trenton and in Newark and in Jersey City. I'm in this area, and I got people right here, or I got my website that I can touch people. You know.
Boss asked. My fault. It's the boss asked a question about what's the stipulations on starting farming CBD. There aren't any. It's federally legal, as far as I know, right?
There are stipulations, but they're very loose.
Okay.
It depends on the state, but in Jersey, for example, last year it was $300 for the permit. $300. Now you got to go find the seeds and the plants. I went out. Yeah,
That's it. After that,
we bought about 100,000 clones for $250. $2.50. Not me, but this company that I'm with, right? $2.50 per plant. Then they resold them as clones. So they did like this whole market thing, brought them in for all over. It's a big business just for the clones. People look for genetics all the time, right? So another thing you could do with $2,000 is buy 1,000 clones. And now you can go to a farm and you can say, hey, you're a real farmer. Do you mind if I register my hemp here? Right? You pay $300-400, whatever it is. That's on a lease model. Why you gotta own the farm? Why you gotta own it? Why you gotta process everything? There's people doing stuff, ready to do something. So a lot of farmers work together. Like I work with about 7-8 farmers. A couple in Pennsylvania. I have lease agreements with others. I work on other people's farms. I work for other farmers. Right? We all work together. And you'd be surprised how people out there doing it. And you come with a couple of dollars. For me, if somebody wanted to invest with me, $10,000, that's probably gonna buy 8,000 plants worth of 8,000 pots for plants. 8,000 to my 8,000 plants. 5 acres, 10,000 will buy the soil for 5 acres. At least a $4 million crop if we were to sell everything. That's what you could do with hemp and CBD with $10,000. But I would look more at your whole life, what you got going on in your life. Can you afford to look at buying a piece of land for a few $1,000s? You know, and looking at a mortgage. The mortgages are a lot easier to get. There's no taxes. You don't pay any taxes as a farmer. You sell your food, you don't pay tax. Income tax on that. It's a blessing to grow food. You get energy credits when you're growing, you know, plants because they're sucking carbon dioxide out of the air, not just hemp, but all plants, and put oxygen in it. You're putting things in people's body that's local and fresh. We get all of our, you know, you're on the East Coast too. You get all of our vegetables from California. And it's funny because California, the reason why we don't grow vegetables so well out here is because look outside. It rains too much. The leaves get wet. Everything gets wet. The mold and the insects. It's just the East Coast is can't grow shit. We can only grow things that we can process outdoor, like tobacco or you know, or corn or other things, or soybean, right? But it don't rain in California, and yet they're feeding us. So we taking all this vegetation from other places because we don't grow it ourselves, but we can in greenhouses, in urban farms. And you don't need. Some people go, "Is your stuff organic?" We're like, "Yeah." You certified organic? Nah. We're customer certified. Our customer will tell you if the operations are clean, if the food is clean. You can come check it out, come see what we do, right? But you don't have to worry about all those certifications and paying for it. You get an LLC, you get a piece of land, you know, you could do with 2-3 other people, right? Where everyone put in 2,000 a person, 5 people, now you got 10 grand. You can get 10-15 acres for $100,000. You guys build a house on that. You put a crop on it, that's $1 million piece of property in 10 years. That's money. That's real money. And you're feeding yourself. And you're feeding and taking care of the environment.
You doping in many ways, man. I'm.
Man, I appreciate
Hey,
it.
look, man. Let's talk about Green Cell and Soul Cell.
Yes, sir.
Now, those are your companies. That's you have products. I used to be able. I don't know, man. I used to be able to show stuff. They did these upgrades on Instagram, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't do pictures and stuff while I got a guest on anymore. I used to be able to do that because I had some
Yeah, I
pictures of
remember
your
that. Yeah.
products. Yeah, I can't do it no more, man. I don't even see. I don't see the button for it. I can do a damn effect. Hold on a second. Let me see something. I ain't tried it. Yeah, all I can do is damn effects, man. They got like I don't even what the hell am I doing now? I'm messing up. It's just effects, man. It ain't nothing. I was trying to put the pictures up, but uh, Soul Cell SOLCELL underscore CBD is where you can find the products. And Green Cell, are they the same company?
So a lot of people ask me these, like, why you got all these different companies? So it's just a way of business management, banking that I used in the past, where you can, have different owners, right? So I started
Mm-hmm.
Soul Cell. I actually started a company called Fawcett Farms with my current partner now of Fawcett Farms. That's another company. We own two of those, Fawcett Farms Corporation and a holding company. About 3 years ago, for the medical marijuana license. But when we applied for it in New Jersey, we said we don't want to grow weed. We want to grow hemp. But we need a license, medical marijuana license. So we established a corporation so that we can have corporate bylaws, chairman, board, this, that, right? And then a medical board. It's a requirement to get a cannabis license. You have to have those kinds of bylaws, corporation, right? So we started that. Then that didn't work out because 8,000 people want to grow weed as well in New Jersey, but they only give it a license out to 6. So believe me, it ain't nothing personal. You don't qualify. I knew we didn't qualify. That's what we try to say. Forget the THC. We want to do the CBD. They're like, well, why don't you wait for that license to come out a year later? Like, all right, whatever. So that started Soul Cell under the premise of the cell's health, the cell of the body, and the plant are the same. We consume plants. We consume cannabinoids for this connection between their cells and our cells. Soul is for the light, enlightenment, as well as the sun. And you can put soul to solace and solution and all types of different things. And we went and started creating CBD in Vermont and Massachusetts for the last 2 years. And it wasn't until last year that New Jersey opened up hemp and CBD here, which we were hoping for the last 3 years. But watching, learning, participating in the whole hemp CBD business nationally, while everybody else is investing and losing their money and going broke and this and that and waiting for it to be legal, waiting for them to give them social justice. We just went out and started doing stuff and making a living, but learning. Now we're 3 years into it, and banks start saying, well, we can give you financing now because it's 100% federally legal, and you've been around for 3 years. So I created Green Cell, which means now we're green. Right, and Green Cell is owned by other companies. So Soul Cell started Green Cell, and what Green Cell incorporates is other farmers, other companies that own a piece to see that product succeed. And Green Cell is international, so we sell around the world. We process and package, manufacture in San Diego, Carlsbad actually. It has some of the highest technology and plant-based food. But skincare products as well as consumable products that are actually in grocery stores right now. Not my product, but the people that make my product for Green Cell have massive distribution with grocery stores. I don't have any of those deals yet, but Green Cell is being set up to do that. So the idea is that Soul Cell makes CBD, sells CBD. Green Cell helps other farmers get together and make it work.
That's what's up, man.
So we
Last
got
question.
to get you in there.
Yeah, man. We definitely gotta talk, bro. I need to find out how to get to that level but yeah, man. We're gonna definitely. I got a lot, man. I want to really connect. I've been meeting so many people just by doing this fellowship, and I'm learning like, damn, man. Like it's amazing. That's what I was gonna talk to you about because you got influence of the month on I saw you got influence of the month on. I don't remember who gave it to you, but it was an award you got.
That was Black Canna Influence.
Okay.
Black Canna, was it underscore black? They're just Black Canna Influence, yo. I was surprised.
Influence of the month.
Brother. And I'm like, was that because of February? Because I didn't jump too much towards Africa in February, but we did. We got some brothers out in the UK, Black History UK. Man, we were killing it in February with the wisdom that's out there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, man. And well, that's what I was gonna say, man. I think I need to get for the month of from February 28th to March 28th. I think I should get producer or influencer of the month, man. We had
I think you should too, man.
Corvain Cooper, Yvette, actually, Rick Ross, Bonita Money, and the God Darren Watkins. That's a hell of a lineup, man. I mean, I'm serious, and I mean, like, seriously, like, all the knowledge that you all have brought, I'm talking about each and every one of you, and this is not, please, I hope nobody else that I've had on the show feels slighted, because everybody, if you go back to every show I've had, man, I'm telling you, you will learn something. Yeah, every single guest we've had on here has been so amazing, and it's amazing to me that there's so many amazing people in the world. I didn't know that there was this many great people, especially in this business. I'm serious, man. I thought I was really like cynical and pessimistic about a lot of things because I see a lot of shit, you know. But I beat so many people who are so enlightened and so wise and able to share this, and I'm happy that I'm able to bring these people and then you guys are able to bring this knowledge and we could just share this, man. It's been a wonderful experience for me personally, but just in general, I think we're changing the paradigm, man.
That's beautiful. You say that, and that you know, goes to the thing we were saying in the beginning: humility. A lot of these people who are enlightened, I'm watching them. It wasn't about their ego, you know. It wasn't about them pushing something that they know differently. They're just doing what they got to do, and they have this knowledge and wisdom because they're listening. You know, our brain is between our ears, not our lips. You know, whenever you're talking, you're not listening. If you're not listening, you're not learning. So as other people are talking, that's great. You know, hopefully, you know, there's some education that happened. At the end of the day, you got to measure the results, right? And, you know, some of us are still complaining that we got to get something from somebody. While other people out there eating raccoons.
Making it happen.
Exactly. They eat raccoons to survive. And we over here complaining about our shit. I'm like,
because we ain't got no toilet paper.
I like guns. I want to protect my family. I'm going to go live. You live out in the woods, you can get a gun. There you go. You want to play with guns? Go out in the woods. But you also got to dig holes and cut the grass.
Right.
Take care of animals, you know, and a whole nother lifestyle that starts with you.
Right.
Starts with you. And if it's about money and taking care of family, it's nothing better than owning some land and being part of producing some food and medicine. Nothing better.
Real talk, brother. Hey, man, let's wrap it up on that note, man, because that's peace. And yeah, man, I'm definitely calling you up, man. I'm in New Jersey a couple times a year. Blessings and peace and I know the wind ain't gonna come through right now. Try to knock us down. We're not having it. Good morning. How y'all doing today? Thank you for joining us. Tag a friend. We've been having a relatively cool morning, but now it seems like the shenanigans are starting. But yeah, come on in. Join us. Tag a friend. Hey, what's happening? Udacy, Phoenix, what's going on? How y'all doing today? What's everybody smoking on? Let me know. What are you smoking on? I had some Tony Bonanza. I think that's what it's called. Pretty tasty. You as well, Phoenix. You as well. What y'all smoking on this morning? Let me know. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. What you doing on this great morning? It's a great morning. Counting my blessings and trying to what's this? Counting my blessings and trying to share these lessons.
Why is it hard for black participants? We're going to talk about that today, Sir Michael Esquire.